So for our first speaker, I'd like to bring out Ms. Jennet Alterman. Since she graduated from high school, Jennet Alterman has worked in more than 40 countries, been a television news reporter and anchor, served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Afghanistan, and continues to work as a longtime women's rights advocate. She's bold, creative, and focused. I'm pleased to have her. Thank you.
Thank you, Clayton, and I think a big hand for Clayton and all of the wonderful volunteers that have made this possible. I am impressed that we have all of you out here on a Saturday afternoon, and I'm delighted that I have you as mine for 8 minutes as I talk about some of the lessons that I've learned. Oh, there I am. There I am. Not many people would do this. This is me in 1970 as a high school senior. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to direct my comments to the high school senior me as well as you. Now, the first thing I want to share with you as a tip for life is wear sunscreen. I want you to remember that because that is one thing that is scientifically proven to be true. Everything else I'm going to share with you this afternoon is based purely on my own experience and is not necessarily scientifically proven. So let's start with this one. Enjoy your beauty and your power now. And I say that because in 20 years, when you look back at this picture, you're going to go, darn, I look good. And I wasn't fat. You're going to look back at that picture and say, boy, I wish I'd known at the time that I was that good. Okay? 20 years from now. Do one thing every day that scares you. One thing. Something small, so that over time you'll be more confident about doing things bigger that scare you. It will get you ready to become smart takers of risks. And as you can tell by my brief bio, having worked in 40 countries and having gone to Afghanistan as a Peace Corps volunteer, I wasn't put off by the risk. A lot of that was being foolish, however, that's another story for another time. Keep your love letters. Okay? You can throw out the bank statements, but I want you to promise me you'll keep your love letters because you're going to want to read them over later in your life. Get to know your parents. And this is something that I don't think many of you really think about because for the first time you're going to be leaving home and your relationship with your parents is going to start adjusting in small ways and into bigger ways. So make a promise to yourself that you'll try to get to know your parents as you head out into the college world. And what you're going to find is more often than most, when you come home, you're not going to want to spend all your time with your friends. You're going to actually want to spend some good quality time with your parents. I say that because I lost my parents at a fairly young age. Their ages, they were only in their 70s, which is young for now. And I was delighted that I had several years where I spent a lot of time with them and really got to know them. And I think all the parents in the room are nodding knowingly because you've all done it with your parents. Be kind to your knees. How many of you play sports? How often do those knees start to feel a little twitchy? Be kind to your knees. You're going to need them. Okay? And I will tell you from this picture, which you can't really tell, don't mess much with your hair. You know, find that style and stick with it. My mother told me all through high school, oh dear, you look so much better when you pull it back. I didn't. I finally figured it out. So don't mess with it. If you know what works, stay with it. Now this next one is one I hear a lot from you all, and that is, I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life and I'm feeling guilty about it. Do not sweat this. Some of the most interesting people I have met in my career had no clue what they wanted to be at your age. And many of them still don't. They just take their life and their career as a series of opportunities. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't know what they want to do. This next one is, I think, important for those of you who've gone to school with each other for many years. And that is, hold on to some of the precious few friends you have that knew you as a child. You're going to find as you get older how important that is. I had the opportunity to go for 12 years with a group of 5 other women. Now, probably if we all met today, we wouldn't necessarily become friends, but because we met when we were 6 years old, we're still friends. We don't judge each other, we're kind to each other, and we give each other a lot of grief. I want you to pick one news source, okay? Have you waved your arms yet? Good, thank you. One news source, whether it's Time Magazine, the paper, an online news service. You have got to know what's going on in the rest of the world because it's right there. I had to seek out what was going on in the rest of the world when I got out of high school, but you don't. There is no excuse for you not staying on top of what is important in this world. How many of you read about Malala? Do you know her story? The young Pakistani girl who felt so strongly about her education that even after she was shot in the head by the Taliban, that has not silenced her. And it's people like Malala that you're going to actually meet in your life. And you're going to have that wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I want to leave you with a little story. And it's about the 3 hikers. And they needed to cross a raging, wild river. So the first one of them asked God to give him the strength to cross the river. And poof, God gave him strong arms and legs, and it took him about 2 hours, but he did get across the raging river. Our second hiker asked God to give him strength and the tools to cross the river. And God, poof, gave him strong arms and legs and a boat. And in about an hour, he made it across the river. The third hiker asked God to give him strength, the tools, and the intelligence to cross the river. Poof! God made him a woman who checked the map, walked upstream 100 yards, and walked across the bridge. Enjoy.